Okay, so part two of Leave Emiru Alone. There's a lot of things I want to talk about this specifically today. So, again, my main point with the whole thing is this is ironically what I've been saying for the past half a week about stop just making everything political, stop throwing stones at other people who are just doing their own thing, right? And this is on a whole nother level, right? Because on some level, I can see being offended at Caleb Hammer's content. And I understand that D'Angelo does, or at least D'Angelo's demons, do believe that Caleb Hammer's content is genuinely harmful. And it's possible he may even be making some changes in response to this whole controversy because apparently he's got like an under construction thing on his banner and he hasn't uploaded in a couple days. But to be fair, I don't really pay too much attention to it. I all the drama annoys me. I just commentate on it when it gets so loud that I can't avoid it, you know? But there are things that I feel philosophically compelled to speak on. And this whole thing with Emmy is absolutely one of them, especially because it plays into the whole theme I've had for the past couple days, the past few uploads, where I don't want to talk about the drama. I just want people to chill the fuck out, right? This is not healthy for anyone. I I think people think I'm taking sides when I called out D'Angelo for making the video and starting the beef in the first place, but I'm not. He just caught most of the flack because he fired the first shot. I specifically said multiple times during that original video that I don't watch Caleb Hammer's content. I find it kind of gross, to be honest. And it is what it is, you know? But this is a whole other level where you take someone who's not even making objectionable content in the least, like, it's just a nerd having fun playing video games is what it boils down to, and cosplaying and talking about food. And talking about food is relevant because I love food. No, I do, but it's relevant because that's what she was doing when this whole thing started. You can go find the clip, and she's talking about some kind of food that's like a fried pancake. It looks like fair food, right? It's like ice cream covered in something. I don't know what it is. I want to try it though. But someone in chat brings up, so like they bring up ice, and she's confused at first because I'm sure in her brain she was like, "Why would you put ice on this?" or something like that. Because here's the thing: most people aren't terminally online obsessed with this bullshit. So they hear ice, they think like cubed or shredded, right? And the leftist grifters just absolutely latched onto this because the thing she said that really pissed them off is, I don't want to talk about it. And she also, without really realizing it, insulted their entire existence because she said, I don't understand why people want to ask streamers that don't know anything about politics, their positions on politics. If you're getting your politics from streamers, you should probably get off the internet or something like that. That's not an exact quote, but I absolutely agree with that sentiment. The only reason I talk about this kind of stuff at all is because I literally studied it in college, right? I went to school for 4 years as a political science major with a focus on constitutional law. Now, I was kind of misled. I expected it to be more political philosophy, right? We started off reading Plato, Aristotle, Locke, Hobbes, Kant, like all of them. And then that was the first 2 years. But the second 2 years, it was like, these are the statistics and demographics of how people vote and how we get them to vote the way they want. And I'm like, this is just so dirty and disgusting. So, needless to say, I didn't go into that field. But because of that, I have insight into all of this perspective, right? And that was kind of a jumbled up sentence, but I hope you understand what I was trying to say there. So I'm really upset at this whole situation, primarily because it's just evil people bullying someone into doing something they don't want to do, is what it boils down to, right? Because she has been bullied by the left so much that she eventually responded on Twitter with a ridiculously long tweet. And that was a huge mistake because all it did was piss people off more, right? This is one of these things you need to learn how to just ignore these people. I hesitate to even call them people because they're just demons in human skin, right? They have no interest in interacting in good faith whatsoever. They are just attention whores that are begging and grasping at straws for anything you're going to give them. And the main reason I'm pretty sure they're coming after her is specifically because she is the #1 female streamer on Twitch. They want all that clout and attention. If they can bully her into silence or into taking their side, then they see that as a win regardless. And even though she responded and did exactly what they wanted her to, it's still not enough for them, right? In addition to her comments on ICE, they are mad that she hasn't publicly called out Tectone and Lakari for being a degenerate gooner and allegedly a sexual abuser, right? She just doesn't want to get involved in that drama at all. Her whole opinion and position was that the lack of humidity in this house is causing the table to kind of fall apart. I just noticed that. I have been using a humidifier to attempt to help, but this has been a very long, deep freeze in the winter here, and it's just not really keeping up. Hopefully my guitars survive. Anyways, what was I saying? Let me reset. I just got distracted by that. Okay, yeah. So they went and roasted her for her response because it wasn't good enough. Her whole response was, I believe actions speak louder than words. I don't like being involved in drama. I just want to stream and make people happy. So I didn't commentate. I didn't comment on Lakari and Tectone because I don't want to be involved with any of that. And they were like, well, you should have. And then when she said her whole thing was about ICE was, I don't think it's right that anyone should be fearful for being scooped off of the streets or whatever. And they were like, why can't you just say fuck ICE? It's like, these are just degenerate goon goblins, right? They have no brains or critical thinking powers whatsoever. They just go with whatever the most extreme left position they can take in the Overton window is. And if you don't know what the Overton window is, it's the realm of acceptable thought within public, what's the word I'm looking for? Public perception, right? So back in ancient Rome, slavery was well within the Overton window. It was generally accepted. Almost everyone had slaves, even people of relatively low stature. It was just a way their economy worked, right? These days, slavery is well outside of the range of the Overton window in the United States, though it's still generally acceptable in many other places. It's important to note that there's different Overton windows in different cultures. But my whole point here is, if you really want to know which side is the evil side, just look at which side doesn't leave you alone, right? Because the difference between good and evil is that good minds its own business, right? Good just doesn't care. Good is focused on building and creating, making people joyful. It will absolutely be like, you know what? I don't care what's going on in the other side of the world. I'm just trying to fix the homeless problem, the opioid epidemic that we have right here. And I think that's the biggest obvious giveaway for me as to whether or not someone is good or evil. Now, to be fair, there are times when good will take action, but it's only in response to absolutely insane evil, right? Think of it like a shepherd guarding his sheep. Is a shepherd that is guarding his sheep going to go over and yell at the berry pickers because they're picking berries in the wrong order, or they're only picking the blueberries and not the raspberries? No, the shepherd is concerned solely with maintaining his flock and keeping his flock safe. But if a wolf does come and attack his flock, he will quickly and unequivocally destroy that wolf so that it can no longer harm his flock, right? Meanwhile, on the other side, you have evil, which can never leave just well enough alone. Evil is always going to go out of its way to attack neutral people, right? Because there are three kinds of people in the world. There are people that lean towards good. I don't believe anyone is inherently and fully good, because even Jesus himself said, I'm not good. Only the Lord our Father is truly good. So for a long time, I've felt weird using the word good because of that. But I've realized recently that language changes over time, and you need to learn to adapt to language. And people are simpler and stupider than ever these days, and it's only getting worse with AI. So I'm just simplifying it down to good and evil, because the nuance is going to be lost on most people if I don't. So there are essentially three types of people in the world. There are those that are basically good, like Mother Teresa. There are those that are basically evil, like Stalin and Hitler. And then there are those that are basically neutral and just let good or evil people decide their fate for them. That neutral portion, that is 90% of people, right? How do you know if someone is neutral? Well, it's because they will bend the knee to whichever evil or good person puts the most pressure on them. And this is where we come back to how you know these people are evil, because here's the thing: good doesn't really put pressure on you. It leads by example. It's like, I'm going to go create this pretty little garden, this kingdom of heaven over here. And if you want to join, you're welcome to join. But there's going to be standards you have to live up to. And that's one of the reasons why most people will be neutral, is because they're not willing to live up to those standards, right? They're not willing to better themselves. They just want to live simple, expedient, hedonistic lives, and they aren't willing to put aside all that simplicity and all that instant gratification to level up spiritually and emotionally. But then on the other side, you have evil, which exists solely to destroy good, right? All it wants to do is take control of everything. And the only way it can do that is by assaulting good, because generally, good doesn't even give a fuck about evil, right? It's like the massive superstar that doesn't even realize the obsessed paparazzi are following it around almost. And these paparazzi are just running around trying to tear down this superstar, because that's the only way they know how to make any money, how to put food on the table, is by doing everything they can to tear someone down and steal food from someone else's table. Meanwhile, and it's not that that's the only way they know how, it's the only way they're willing to do, because actually growing a field of wheat and grinding that wheat into flour and baking bread is a lot more effort than just stealing that bread from someone else's table. The problem, though, at least from evil's perspective, is that true good is so insanely powerful that when even vastly outnumbered, a single good individual can hold back waves and waves and waves of demons, right? So, what does evil do? Instead of attacking good directly, it goes after the neutral people, the people who are not willing to die on their cross, so to speak, because it knows it can get them to bend the knee. And then once it does that, it's revealed the weakness, right? The dumbest thing that Emmy could have done is apologize and put out that tweet the way she did. Because two things happened. First of all, she didn't appease the people she was trying to appease because it wasn't enough for them. It's not good enough for evil for you to merely bend the knee and try and walk away, right? Evil wants you groveling on the ground in front of it to dominate and control you so that you become its slave. So, on the one hand, it failed utterly because the people she was trying to appease aren't appeased. They want more. The same way that appeasement did not work with Hitler, it does not work with these evil leftists, right? And there's evil right wingers too. So we can talk about that another video. I'm just saying, in this particular situation, it's the evil leftists that started all this and went after Emmy when she was like, I just want to play video games and dress up like video game characters and talk about food. And they were like, no, you need to be a political streamer because you're the biggest political streamer. You're the biggest female streamer. Now, I want to talk more about that specifically in a minute, but let's finish this evil versus good dichotomy. The other issue is she caught all kinds of flack from people that she never would have caught flack from because she's relatively smart. She's actually arguably the smartest streamer I've seen. One of my favorite Emmy clips is they're playing like a knockoff version of Wheel of Fortune. They can't actually call it Wheel of Fortune because trademark and copyright and all that stuff. But they're playing essentially Wheel of Fortune, and there's like one or two letters on the board. And if you don't know how Wheel of Fortune works, you spin a wheel, and as long as you don't get lose a turn or bankruptcy, lose a turn means you get skipped. Bankruptcy means you lose all of your money for that round and you get skipped. Then you get to guess a letter, and if the letter shows up on the board, you get how much money was on the wheel for however many of those letters. So if you guess like T and there's three T's and you rolled a 500, you get $1,500, right? In addition, you can only guess consonants and you need to buy vowels. I don't know how much vowels cost, but so you guess consonants and you buy vowels to fill in the puzzle, and it's usually some type of common phrase like what goes around comes around or something like that. And whoever guesses the puzzle first wins regardless of how much money they have, right? So if you have like 1,500 and someone else has 3,000, it doesn't matter that they had 3,000 so far in the round. If you guess the puzzle right, you get that 1,500. Now, generally, part of the strategy is to often farm up as much cash as possible. So if you know the puzzle, you can intentionally guess words that are in there. But the problem with doing that metagaming is the more parts of the puzzle you fill in, the easier you make it for someone else to guess and snipe you, especially if you spin a lose a turn or something like that. So on some level, it's also best just to guess as soon as you can, although you'll get less money. And I think they were playing for charity or something, and these streamers often do, but who knows? Or maybe it was just points or for fun. Regardless, the whole idea, if you didn't know Wheel of Fortune, you know it now. And I am always insanely impressed by this clip of her guessing the entire puzzle with like one letter or two letters. And I have historically been pretty good at Wheel of Fortune. It's one of those game shows that I'm better at. It just absolutely blew the hair off the top of my head that she was able to guess that puzzle so quickly with so little info and get it right. And it shows you just how brilliant she is on a very low key level, right? I don't think many people recognize that level of intelligence because they just can't comprehend it. So she is a extremely intelligent person, but she's also a kind of simple and naive person because the whole Twitch con assault issue, people were literally telling her not to go to TwitchCon that year because there was just something in the water, right? I was telling people in general not to go to TwitchCon this year because there were just bad vibes around that whole thing. And then she got sexually assaulted on stage, and instead of protecting their number one female streamer, Twitch tried to lie about it and cover it up. So she was really naive about this whole thing too, expecting that one, there would be sufficient security to keep her safe, and two, that when it did happen, Twitch would just do the right thing. But they don't care about doing the right thing, because if they did, none of these leftist pro-terrorist streamers that are actively promoting political violence would still be on the platform, right? I'm all for free speech, but there are limits to free speech, and promoting political violence is one of those limits. So she's extremely naive, though, in that she didn't realize that taking this, she was smart to not say anything about this in the first place. And the smartest thing would have been to just continue to not say anything. But the naivety comes in where she thought that one, coming out with this statement was going to get these people to leave her alone, because all it did is energize them, right? You don't feed the trolls, because then they keep coming back for more. They got her to cave once. Now they want her to bow down. Two, all the people on the other side of the political spectrum that never had a problem with her up until this point, now they're mad at her because she has some slightly left-leaning views, and maybe she like disavowed one of their favorite content creators. Although I don't understand how Lakari's ever been popular. He's a weird gooner freak and has always been that way. Like, just there's an old clip of Lakari talking about how sexy Vaporeon or something is, and it's the weirdest. All right, I really need to do something about this tiny ass storage on this phone. And it's not even my videos taking up the storage. For whatever reason, TikTok just likes to store like 10 extra gigabytes on my phone, and I have to keep constantly clearing that cache, but whatever. I need to do some uploads this week to get rid of those other videos I have that I just haven't edited yet. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, Lakari, this is kind of irrelevant now that I think about it, but I'm going to finish the thought. He's always been a weird gooner freak. There's this clip of him back during OnlyFans where he like sends this weird video to Soda Poppin', where it's like some Vaporeon gooner shit, and Soda even calls him out for this. He's like, this has like 100 views. How do you even find this shit? The signs were always there, you know? As far as the Tectone stuff, I don't know. As far as I can tell, that's a he said, she said situation, and I don't really know who to believe. I think the fact that he's so into like that degenerate gooner gotcha stuff definitely isn't a good look. But as far as the actual sexual abuse allegations, there's a lot of women that lie about that stuff for attention. And it's hard to know which side to come down on with that one. But my whole point was, because she broke her silence, the best thing you can do is, if you're not involved in this drama, just don't get involved. Don't say anything. But she broke her silence. So now, in addition to catching more heat from the left people that she was trying to appease, she's getting all the heat from the right too, because she has a slightly left-leaning view, and the extreme right-wingers and all the people that like supported her up to this point when she was getting bullied by the left are now also bullying her because she had no backbone and didn't stand up to them, and in the process maybe dunked on a creator that they liked. So the best thing she could have done was just stay silent, stay in her lane, and instead of bending to flexible morals, have some principles, right? You said you didn't want to commentate on politics and just wanted to focus on gaming and cosplay and food. Cool. If you had done that, you wouldn't be in trouble right now. It would eventually go away. The internet, if you guys haven't figured this out at this point, the internet has an attention span of about 2 weeks. That is the most that this really happens. I know this from uploading videos and looking at the metrics. A video will get views for about 2 weeks and then it disappears from the algorithm. If you pay attention to any of this low key drama, if you don't talk about it, it goes away after about 2 weeks. But the more you keep talking about it, it's like a new injection. It's like if you're refreshing stacks on a debuff every time you talk about it again. So now, because she just made this whole conversation bigger, she's got to wait another 2 weeks for it to go away now. And it might not even go away at this point because she fed the trolls, right? I don't know if she's ever going to watch this, but there's a 99.9% chance that she's not. But Emmy, you are one of the biggest creators of all time. The dumbest thing you can do is punch down. These people are just trying to steal your energy and steal their clout because they're jealous of you. And it's obvious, especially because of Caseytron, who is one of the biggest degenerate loser streamers on Twitch these days, but used to be one of the top booby streamers. And generally, I don't really go with direct personal insults, but this is one of those don't throw stones if you live in a glass house type thing. She's talking about Emmy's audience like they're a bunch of degenerate gooner incels when that is exactly the type of audience she cultivated. And the reason she fell off is because she cultivated that audience and she stopped catering to them when she got fat and ugly and became a political grifter, right? The thing is about the internet doesn't forget. If you go back and look at the original Caseytron content, it is just absolute catering to incel gooners. And it is like tits out every stream type stuff. Meanwhile, Emmy's sitting there streaming in a hoodie and sweatpants. It's the exact opposite. And that's why Caseytron is so mad, right? Emmy doesn't even need to try to get this attention. And there's really three reasons for that. One is she's just really pretty. You know, some people are naturally gifted, and it's both a gift and a curse. Like, she gets so much of that attention that she doesn't even want. I don't think she realizes the effect that she has on some of these lonely dudes on Twitch, although maybe she does now after TwitchCon. But Emmy is way prettier than Caseytron ever was objectively, right? Subjectively, people have different preferences. But if you look at which one is more likely to be on the front of a magazine, it is Emmy 100% of the time. So that's the first thing. Caseytron's just jealous of her looks. The second thing, though, is Caseytron is jealous that she doesn't even need to try, at least as far as like selling her body and things like that. And she just succeeds while Casey Tron is falling off and getting destroyed for her insanely ridiculous grifting and selling out. Oh, it's just the best way to describe it. I think she is absolutely furious that Emmy is just succeeding by simply playing video games when Casey Tron is on this like whole crusade. I'm going to ruin the world by making everyone socialist and communist, and she's getting all this pushback, right? So it's absolutely two types of jealousy and just wickedness, where it's one, she's jealous that she's prettier than her and didn't have to sell out her body into what word am I looking for? Whatever. I'm missing the word. She didn't have to sell out her body to receive that attention the way Casey Tron did. And she also is just succeeding for staying in her lane, whereas Casey Tron keeps switching lanes, and every time she does, she falls off farther. And I think the third thing is that it's just herd mentality, right? Because denims really sparked this, and this all happened after they tweeted, I think, or they posted somewhere that Emiru is the number one female streamer on Twitch. Neither Denims or Caseytron even made the list, mind you. And then all of a sudden, they're attacking Emiru specifically. This type of female jealousy, woman jealousy, whatever you want to call it. Some people don't like the word female because, like, God forbid we use scientific terms in 2026, right? It's grown to insane, unprecedented levels. And I've even seen other women commenting about it. There was someone I had a conversation with on Twitter today about it, where she's posted a comment where she's like, "Oh, they're talking about me again." And her response was, "You have a husband that loves you. You have a family that loves you. You built a wonderful community. Don't worry. They're just jealous, basically. Y'all need to stop giving these jealous, insane, evil women attention, because that is exactly what they want. It is an attention economy, and they don't care. They're not interacting in good faith. They just want to destroy whatever you're creating because they are jealous and because they can't create anything for themselves." That's all I have to say. I feel like this was a longer rant than normal, but I did want to get all that out because it's been bouncing around my brain. I'm going to go work on some other stuff. I'm going to probably upload those videos because I'm sick of running out of space and I need to edit them and get them set up. I just want to say, make sure you're armed and training. De-Google yourself. Delete Windows. I love all of you, and God bless America. Cheers.